What is going on, everyone? Happy New Year and welcome to 2022 with Max and McKenna. We are excited to have you guys here. This was going to be initially the 400 subscriber stream, and then that changed very quickly to the 600 subscriber stream. So we are super grateful and thankful for everyone. This show has been one of the consistencies with this channel. I used to do a comic book show on Wednesday and the Max and McKenna show, but this Monday show with McKenna has really been our sanity, not just for us, but also for everyone in the chat and all the subscribers and everything. So it's been fun to watch this thing grow because it consistently continues to be the most watched, favorited, talked about thing that I do here on this channel. So with all that being said, thank you guys again for everything. We'll go over how that big jump happened, because even I'm still how did one day go from 402 subscribers? The last time I checked, I was at 605. That's nuts in a span of 3 days or whatnot. So, but before we get into that, McKenna, how was your New Year's? Did you do anything? And are you a big New Year's person?
It's interesting. So I have always loved the idea of being a big New Year's person. I would love to go to New York. I'd love to go to a party. And then every time New Year's rolls around, I'm like, man, my pajamas sound really good too. So usually I end up in the house chilling. And that's exactly what I did this year. And it was so nice and cozy.
Good. I'm the same way. It's funny because we go all out for Christmas. And then for New Year's, I'm pretty sure we just went 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. That sounds about right for bed, Don't need to stay up till midnight.
Well, that's a good point. Me and my family, we go huge for Christmas. So I do think that New Year's is kind of like recovery from Christmas.
Yeah. I can see that kind of the down slope after the high that is Christmas. So real quick, let me just hop in the chat here real quick and say hello to everyone. Esky691 is always here early, and I know that he normally is sleeping, but he always comes in just to say hi. So hello, brother. Thank you so much for being here. A Troubled Green, as always, one of our favorite fans that I geek out on with Lord of the Rings. Here comes 1K, hopefully soon. I mean, 600 was pretty rad, I have to say. And A Troubled Green, remind me how I pronounce your first name, because I want to make sure that I get it right and I don't want to butcher it. So, Codenomics, what's going on, dude? Thank you for being here. Roman and John, two of our biggest fans and two of our most favorite people. You guys are so much fun to hang out with. So, let's see. Legion Comics, thanks for stopping by, man. I'm looking forward to watching your CGC unboxing video. I haven't gotten a chance to watch that yet. Steve Giblin, my man Steve. We'll just call him Steve. And Wayne, hello. Clinton, I haven't seen you in here, brother, but I love that avatar. Vash the Stampede Trigun is by far one of the best manga out there, so I love that avatar, brother. And our man Harley Dave, he says, today I learned that all that's necessary to grow your channel is to help Gary move. Hey, you know what? At this point, that was something I was able to do, and I had the opportunity to do so, and I said, why not? And it just turned out that they absolutely were just so grateful for that they were like, okay, let's give him a shout out. So that was all Gary. So I which is why I'm rocking the Nerdrotic hat tonight. I gotta kind of represent.
I would assume with this collection, it's all hands on deck too.
Say again.
I would assume with his collection, Gary's collection, it's all hands on deck to help them.
Oh, his collection. I thought you said election for some reason. But
No,
yeah, yeah, not yet. Even though we do talk about that on this show. Yes, his collection was unreal. We were on the members stream with Gary the other day, and even he and I were joking because I was telling the guys I was like, you know, like his collection. It's you think that it's like, oh man, he's got like so much stuff, like that's crazy, like it's just a lot of stuff. No one actually knows how much it is until you've packed it all into a truck and you're like, oh my God, there's so much here, ranging from model toys, Spider-Man custom, like train sets, from boxes and boxes and hundreds of thousands of comic books from his comic book shop to statues, life size, all the way down to like 1/6 scale, 1/10 scale. He had the Captain America shield packed up, like just pinball machines, gaming machines. Like it was unreal, guys. It was so much fun to see that. So it was pretty cool. Bryce Newbold, hey man, so good to see you here. Thank you for stopping by. I just subscribed to your channel as well, man. If you guys don't know who Bryce is, he's a huge voice and a great channel in the realm of, correct me if I'm wrong, McKenna, but climbing and hiking, correct?
hiking, backpacking, and he just released a video where he bought a camper that I think he's renovating. So that'll be really fun to watch.
Hell yeah. Okay, cool.
Although Bryce, I know Bryce mentioned this in his video, but I'm dying to see you do van life. I know there's so many channels out there with like phenomenal vans that people renovate. So I am personally voting for that for you in the future.
Me too. I am looking forward to. I always love when I find a new channel because it just means that I can binge watch all their stuff. It's like a Netflix show, you know.
Yeah.
So Bryce, yeah, thank you for being here, man, and thank you for supporting the channel. It's really rad to see people from all over the place. And then we also have Soul Assassin. He says, "Howdy, congrats on 600." Thank you, thank you. No, seriously, you know, it's funny because you guys are saying, hey, congrats on 600, and I can't tell you how much it means to me when people are so congratulatory. And I think, McKenna, you had brought it up to me earlier, and you were just saying how supportive these channels are and just how different that is in this fellowship. Could you elaborate more about that? Because I thought what you had to say was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, so we were talking a little bit about this, but I know for a lot of you guys, me as well, I've worked many, many jobs in my years. And so, I mean, everything from government work to the corporate world to wedding coordination, you know, et cetera. And it's so interesting to me how I would say, in my experience at least, for the most part, it's kind of a dog-eat-dog world out there. In the business world, there's a lot of competition and a lot of just stepping on heads to try to get to the top. And so for me, jumping into this group specifically, everyone has been so kind. I mean, like left and right, people have been kind, supportive, creative. We're all competitive. We all want to build something, but we're doing it as a team that crosses, not only the United States, but other countries as well. And it's refreshing. I feel like that's just something that's incredibly rare. And so to actually witness it and then also be involved in it this past year has just blown me away.
And it's so, well, first of all, thank you for saying that as well, because I much prefer you to say it because you're much more articulate with how you speak about these things. And it also gives this different perspective of someone who is outside of this fandom coming in and looking at it from an outsider's perspective, saying, who are these people? Like, I cannot believe the type of support or the type of love or, fellowship that they have for each other. It really is pretty incredible. And real quick, Wakazaki, my dude, Gray, greetings, hello, and thank you for being here. Always good to see you, man. What time is it there for you in Japan? Is it morning? Because I think you said 16 to 18 hour difference. Whew, that is
crazy.
That's gnarly. Yeah, it is a wild and crazy yet supportive community. I agree. I suppose the chat family is okay too. Oh, absolutely, man. You guys in chat are always on fire. Thanks, guys. Van life would be so fun. Who knows? Well, I look forward to seeing in your future videos, man. But yeah, with all that being said, it really is so. I'll give an example of a story that I heard the other day. There's a guy who I know who is doing stocks and a YouTube channel just on stocks and investments alone. He's at like, last time I checked was maybe a month ago or so, and he was at like maybe 400 maybe 300 subscribers, and he started right around when I did. And this dude's just grinding, and he has a friend who has something like 500,000 subscribers. And same topic though, talks about stocks and investments and how to do that, what's better to look into, how to invest in different opportunities or whatnot. And my friend who has these 300 subscribers talks to his friend every single day. They're good friends. They grew up together in high school and everything, but this guy started earlier than he did. And everyone drink. Camera went off.
Does coffee count?
Yeah, there you go. Hey, and look at that mug. Holy shit.
I know, good.
I love that mug. It looks good.
My only complaint about this mug is it could have been like 3 times bigger. But because like usually the mugs that I have are like the size of my head. So it's my only complaint.
True. I tried to get, because they only had, I think that's a 12 ounce. And I was looking for a 16 ounce. But yeah, couldn't find one.
I mean, it just means more cups of coffee. So it works.
So yeah, these guys grow up together, best friends, hang out all the time. But the guy who has the 500,000, 500,000 subscriber count makes a living off of YouTube, buys cars, houses. Like, this guy is doing very well for himself. Will not shout out his friend with the 300 subscribers because he says, I want to make you earn the 1,000 subscribers. And then once you get monetized, then I'll shout you out. And there's a part of me that goes, well, fuck you. Like that, why would you do that to your best friend? Like if he's your best friend, you want to support him, right? But then there's also a part of me that says, okay, I understand the work ethic, but where's the support through the work? This guy's grinding. Like, so I don't know. How do you see that in the concept of this? Because granted, we're not talking about investment opportunities and bullshit like that, but we're just talking about fun stuff like hiking and comic books. So chat, how do you feel, McKenna? What does that story do for you in this context here? Like, do you see people doing that in this realm?
Well, I think there's a certain level of, if someone's wanting to build a channel, you can tell when someone's actually putting the work into it, when someone's trying to learn and when they're trying to build and when they're trying to, like when you can see progress over a series of their videos. So I see that to an extent in this community. There is a certain level of, hey, I want to see that, you're really in the game with us before I give you a shout out or before I throw you a bone or whatever. And that's fine. But I would say left and right for me personally, and I've talked about this almost every live stream now, but I was just this random hiker, backpacker, climber who was literally invited into this community and has since just like completely been learning as I go and learning very publicly. And everyone has been so supportive. So I think that the kind of backbone this community has is just mutual support and being able to cheer each other on. And I've not met anyone who is like threatened by another person's success. They are genuinely excited. And I think that, like, for me, the bigger aspect of this being a rebellion, having the undertone of the rebellion on my side of things, I think that that's so needed. And I think they hit it beautifully.
Yeah, there's a level of wanting to see that channel grow on its own because of its
Mhm.
work that the channel puts in, but you also want to try and show and give support where you can. Obviously,
Yeah.
obviously not you know going to the extent to where it may not benefit either party, but there's an extent to where you can throw out a support here, or some money here, or whatever, and or
Mhm.
a shout out or whatever. And so for me, just that little shout out like made my entire
Mhm.
year. Like that was the highlight of 2021 because I was like, what cool friends to just be like, hey, this guy helped me move. Let's help
Yeah.
him with his channel. You know,
Yeah.
um,
And that's what I've seen in
obviously.
the community.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, I totally interrupted you. I was gonna say that's what I've seen in this community is just people completely willing to do that. And like for you guys in the chat, I mean, you guys are taking your time to hang out with us every Monday and support us, and you have genuine interest in what we're doing and vice versa. So for me, just in the last year, going from like hardly ever posting on Instagram, I was out doing things, I was out exploring, but I just really wasn't online. So
Mhm.
going from pretty much just being in the shadows online to actually posting more and more of, hey, this is what I'm up to, this is what I'm doing, here's what I'm building. The kind of support and love that has just flooded my life since has blown me away. And I think that that's very I think that there are channels online that have that kind of community, but I really do think it's more rare than otherwise. So, for example, like hiking, backpacking, climbing, you will meet some of the kindest people. People are honestly excited to like help you learn if you have a genuine interest in learning. They expect you to stand on your own 2 feet, but they're very
Mhm.
excited to help you. And I think that that's rare. I think that's, in sports, you don't see that often. So to find that here as well has just been really, really cool.
What I feel like I can attribute it to is whenever I go into a comic book shop, and maybe not now as opposed to in the 90s and early 2000s, but I always remember like if someone were to say, "Hey, I'm reading this title. What are you reading?" And then someone goes, "Oh, I'm reading this new Superman book or this new Daredevil or something." And they'll go, "Oh my god, what's it about? Tell me about it." Or like, "Hey, I
Yeah.
just picked up this issue of like whatever." Like, okay,
Mhm.
so I'll nerd out a little bit. This is Punisher issue number 94. It is the artist only did 2 issues in the entire universe that Punisher has ever been written on. This artist only did 2 issues, 94 and 95. I got this in today and I'm so stoked because on Wednesday, I'm going to go to the comic shop and show it around because I'm like, this is so cool. This
Mhm.
is one of my favorite artists on this book. And nerds love to do that shit. They love to talk about their collection or their stories or their
Mhm.
comics. When I was with Gary, I was just, I got to see the studio. I was just like, so what's that? And he was like, so this was, it's about, this much money and I got it from here and I put it up, like about last week or something. And then I was like, well, what's that? And
Yeah.
you just feed into each other. And I
Yep.
think these channels tend to do that where we're so supportive because we want to hear more about what we're passionate about because we're all
Mhm.
nerds in some form or fashion. But then you
Yeah.
also have like examples like my man Gray over here who gets Gray. How many did you get in a span in a span of like one night, 2 nights? I think you got like 150 to 200 subscribers, excuse me, from one of your videos. That was nuts, dude. I was literally just watching your feed, your subscribers go up. That was so
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, so you get guys like Gray who post like one video that just like hits
Yeah.
and it just captivates and people just subscribe. Or you get a shout out. Let's see, Harley
Mhm.
says there's a Kentucky weatherman Ryan Hall that went from 25 to almost 300 in less than a year. That's cool. Man, good for
That's
him.
amazing.
And see, like when I hear about that stuff, I wonder what was it that that brought them that success.
Mhm.
And then a Trouble Green says, I mean, I can see wanting to see someone keep grinding and working hard, but I also don't see any harm in uplifting someone when they're lower down than you. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it wouldn't. take a lot of effort, time, or money to shout someone out, like who's a smaller channel than you. So I
Yeah, to
agree
go
with
back
you
to
there.
sorry.
Go ahead, you're good.
I keep it. This is like twice I've interrupted you. So
No, I
to
was
go
done. I
back
was
to your
done.
original story, though, if I
Mhm.
had really, really good friends and like we got to school together and we both jumped into YouTube at the same time or whatever, like even if I was after, and we were building something and we both had solid channels. If that person just refused to give me a shout out on the basis of, hey, I want to make you work for your first 1,000 subscribers, that would like drive me nuts. It would just absolutely drive me nuts. Because like, okay, if you were a father figure, you hear about that with some wealthy fathers. They make their kids earn their money, but that's because they are trying to teach them the basis of something fundamental. So that way they are
Right.
standing on their own feet. That's fine. But I'd be like, you are not my father. We are friends. We're trying to build something. And it's just a shout out. I'm not even asking you to build it for me. I'm just asking for a shout out. So that would be my personal opinion on that. It would drive me nuts. And I would have like a heart with that friend.
Yeah, it does kind of drive you crazy, right? Like you said, it's because you're like, I'm just starting out. I understand, but you couldn't give me a little bit of like just a little bit of a shout out or something. Like I understand the lesson. I understand what you're trying to do, but I think I've built a basis. I've built because like you said, like if parents, they're trying to teach the kid a life lesson. They're trying to say,
Yeah.
this is the importance of finances, or this is the importance of money. But if you know the importance of your channel and how to grow your channel, but you want to try and do that, because in Hollywood, it's all about who you know, right? So wouldn't YouTube want to be similar? Like it's about who you know. If you have a connection, why not utilize it to allow yourself to get your channel to be seen? Yeah, Gray. I'll have these like, it's almost like I'm on some sort of drug when I either like when a troubled green mentions Lord of the Rings, and I like get this like this spark of energy, and then I can't stop talking about it, or when I talk about comics, and I just go crazy. It's kind of this like weird, squirrel moment. But so real quick, before we go any further, I wanted to, for those of you who didn't see the Friday Night Tights shout out, and because I know a lot of people were going, hey, congrats on the 600, blah blah, and I wish I could take credit for it. We successfully got to 400 before January 1st, which was my goal. And I was so thankful. I was like, man, we nailed 400. We actually like hit 400. That is so rad. And then all of a sudden, December 31st was Friday Night Tights. And I think that night I got to 525. It just blew the 400 out of the water. And I was like, we can hit 600. And sure enough, we hit 100. But all that being said, here's the clip if you guys missed it, from the shout out, which was a lot of fun.
My Coed and Cambria brother.
Yeah.
Good
check
boy.
out this channel, and if you could link it in the chat as well. This is MVP, man. This is Max Field Von Priestley. Came to my house, helped me fucking move. Helped
Good man.
Good dude.
us
Nice.
move.
Wow, that's
Not
a real friend.
Like all fucking day. Like was there
Damn.
morning till night. So great guy. Hung out with him at Comic-Con. He talks about comics on his channel. Ex-Marine, Semper Fi there. So check out Max. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he was at the meetup too, I
Real good
believe.
dude.
Yes, he
Looks like a
was.
real
Yeah, he was in
alpha.
Vegas.
The ladies like him. Yeah, the ladies definitely like Max. So
Of course, Gary has to mention. I don't think there's ever been. Yeah, I don't think there's ever been a shout out where he hasn't said something to the effect of, "And the ladies love him," or
Every time I've seen him give you a shout out, it's like, ladies man.
oh my god. And I think it's just because of Vegas, because of the stipulation of like, the ladies man persona or whatever. Which
Yeah.
guys, if you see me in real life, John, Roman, you guys have seen me in real life. I'm not a ladies' man, I'm not a player, but but it's
There's so
it's
much I could say right now.
well, yes,
So many.
McKenna has been there in real life as well, but I I mean, you can speak on that if you like, if you have a comment. If not, then
No, I don't have any jokes that are appropriate for YouTube, but yeah, no, I do think it's very funny though. Every time Gary mentions you, like even at the meetup, he was making jokes about that. So it's really fun to watch.
Yeah, even when because he was walking around the bar with the live stream going on,
Yeah.
and said something to the effect of like, "Where are the ladies?" or something like that. I was like, "Oh my god, this is so funny!" It's so, which is like, I was talking to Mrs. Nerdrotic today, and because I was just telling her, "Hey, so glad that you guys made it to Texas, all right." They are in Texas now. Gary's still in California, but the rest of the family made it out to Texas and they're moving back in. But yeah, I just gave her a big thank you for everything, and she was stoked to hear that that shout out did so well. So
That's great.
It was
I
cool.
am so dying to meet her. She sounds so nice.
Oh,
So
she is definitely, she's one of those people who you meet her and all of a sudden you're just in a conversation and you guys are like both laughing and smiling. She's one of those people that you just instantly tend to get along with and have fun with, and she's so loving and like fun and real. She's very real, which I love. She'll tell you straight up what's going on. Let's see. Jay, what's going on, dude? Drunk 3PO in the chat, everyone. Let's all say hello to Jay. How embarrassing. Was it the shout out that was embarrassing, or is it that Gary keeps mentioning my plight? It's embarrassing. I'm not
pretty
sure.
sure it's the ladies' man comment.
Potentially, yeah. I feel like that's what it is as well. Bryce says, I got about 1,000 subs overnight from a huge shout out once. Had to shut my phone off. It wouldn't stop buzzing. Dude, that's the real 1,000 in one night. That is so rad. And hey, sometimes those shout outs are like what you need to just keep chugging along, because there are moments, and even for me as a small channel, like I've seen those moments where it's stagnant, where things come to a halt because either the YouTube algorithm isn't pushing your stuff anymore, or there's just something where it's just like with weight loss or with strength training, you hit a plateau and it's difficult to continue forward. And sometimes, like you said, Bryce, you just need that like extra little jump or that push to like of 1,000 or 100 or whatever it is. Let's check the chat real quick and see what
so funny. Read that one first before you post it up.
Where's
Roman's? Good old Roman.
Oh, Roman, you're a very attractive man. That's a lot of exclamation points. There are exclamation marks. It was hard not to hug you a lot. Oh, Roman. I made sure not to shake your hand for that reason. I think when we first met, you like went to shake my hand, and I was like, no, I'm a hugger. We hug here. That's what we do.
You guys, you, Roman, and John were very entertaining the entire meetup.
That's true. More so Roman and John. Those guys were so much fun to hang out with and like get to know more in person, I'm just a big dork who talks about comics all the time. So Wayne says, imagine the jump if he did mention the Silkies. Oh man. Now we're back on Silkies.
Here we go. Let me go grab my barf bag really quick and then I can have this conversation.
Oh my gosh. McKenna and I were joking the other night and we were saying, what is our what would you describe our podcast being? Or like, what would you describe our show, our live stream? And I was like, it's a show about politics, comics, and Silkies all done in the form of a Swedish chef voice.
Yep.
And I think that's probably accurate. Chat, what do you guys think?
Except for I'm trying to
um,
kill off the Silkies conversation slowly but surely.
I've noticed that you just kind of tend to not say anything when Silkies comes
Yeah.
up.
Just like, denial. Complete denial. No, like, let's just remember, anytime Silkies comes up, let's just remember the poll on my Instagram where it was outvoted that they are woman repellents.
That
like,
was
needs to be
voter fraud.
It does not matter. My Instagram is not a democracy.
Your Instagram is in America, which is in a democratic country. So,
I mean, have you seen how Instagram works? I was censored last week. Like,
were you really?
Yeah, I was. John was too. John's stories were completely disabled for about a week.
Damn.
I called out AOC and I got censored for about 3 or 4 days.
You know what? That's okay though. That's fine. If I had my platform when Kamala Harris put out the Memorial Day tweet that she was like, "Enjoy the long weekend," I probably would have had my channel banned. Like, not just like, "Hey, we'll put you on hold for a week." It would have been deleted if I had a platform at that point in time. Harley says Max is just a steel jacketed marshmallow. You know what, Dave? You're not wrong, my man. I'm all good side. Zach says, "Congrats, MVP." Thanks, dude. Thank you for saying hi, and thank you for the congratulations. A Trouble Green says, "I want to meet her so bad." Talking about Melissa, yeah, she's the life of the party, man. Like when we were at Vegas, whenever we couldn't get a chance to talk to Gary, like if there was a big crowd around Gary, Melissa would be right there, like having just as big of a conversation with like another group of guys. It's so great. So she was really entertaining. And she also bought Jay a beer, which just tells you how much of a kind, loving soul she is. And everyone's saying hi to Drunk Threepio in the chat. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for giving him a big warm welcome. We always love seeing him here. And let's see. Gray says, "Come on, McKenna, spill the beans about Max's legendary chat up lines." I got nothing, man. I don't have any type of game. I don't know what you're talking about.
There are some things that just should not ever be published publicly, and I think that your chat up lines are in that group.
Because they would be so embarrassing. I actually don't have any, which is pretty funny.
No.
Codenomics says, "I want a hug." Hey, you're getting one, dude. The second we do a Texas meetup, you're getting one. That is a heartfelt promise. Let's see. Roman says, "I haven't bathed since. Can't wash that Mac off." Once you get a sniff of me, yeah, you can't go back. I smell.
There's so many clips from our live streams. Like if we were to clip out these parts of our live streams, I mean, we are just the oddest, like weirdest group that I've ever seen online.
And yet we're the most loving and supportive, and which is funny because like most people would say, "Oh, we're the most hateful, bigoted, close-minded." Like, which is just so funny to me. Like, if anything, we are so inclusive, but
I don't think it's a majority. I think it's a minority. Okay. I just have to figure out this for a second, and then like I'll get off politics. But AOC's little trip down to the land of the free recently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
At this point, anyone who like actually supports her, they have to be a minority. Like, there's no way that there's that many idiots in America. It's just not possible.
They're a loud minority, though.
Yeah, they're very loud.
They're very loud and have a lot of influence, and that's the thing.
I think it's dying. I think it's a dying influence. Like, I really think that they're starting to eat themselves alive because you pull stunts like that. And then I'm sorry, but by the way, it's apparently just because the Republicans are obsessed with her and want to date her and have sexual fantasies about her. So
talk about narcissism.
Oh my gosh.
And like serious, like what's the term for that?
Insanity?
Insanity.
Yeah.
There's a term for where you're so narcissistic, it's actually not a disease, but it's like a sociopathy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You like when you're a sociopath, where you are so focused and where you think that you are the center of the world,
Hmm.
that other people's feelings have no meaning to you. You can't empathize with other people,
Yeah.
which is like very scary. Like sociopaths are very horrifying people. You see a lot of murderers and stuff, which I'm
Mhm.
not saying, I'm not implying anything, but I'm just saying sociopaths tend to be, serial killers because they have no empathy towards other human beings,
Yeah.
So it is very, um, like you said, narcissistic, sociopathic when someone can't look at their own faults
Yeah.
and say, hey, because I would actually respect her more if she owned up to it. I
See,
don't
and
respect her at all,
I was gonna say I have no
but
respect whatsoever.
yeah, no, not at all. But
Think that when you hear, I was thinking about this past week, when you hear people saying, conservatives or, just people who love America and love freedom, they're a minority. I just don't believe that. I really think that we are a majority.
yeah,
They are a minority. It's just they are very loud. But I do think that the pendulum is beginning to, in some ways, swing back, if not politically right now, societally. I do think we're seeing some. I mean, there's so many people like us. We've mentioned this so many times. Now suddenly I'm vocal about my beliefs in, the world of hiking.
mhm.
I will speak on freedom any day in the world of hiking. I never used to do that. I never used to talk about politics and hiking. And then same with you in comics and pop culture. So I think you're just seeing more and more people become vocal, and probably so.
Yeah, and I think that's a good kind of transitioning point here because I also wanted to talk about, and in the description or on the in the title of our video tonight, I wanted to kind of talk about the aspirations for the channel, aspirations for McKenna and I and the show, what we want to bring to you guys, what I want to bring to you guys on this channel and everything. And one of the things that I wanted to mention is that I want to be as I don't want to divide any of my fans, and I don't want to. Um, I'm trying to think of the right word, but and I don't want to say inclusive because inclusive is used in that term now, and it's like such a terrible like community. Who would have thought that community would be a term of like psychopaths? But sure enough, we can't use community because
I've
you
not
know
heard that one yet.
oh just being like, well, we're in we're not friends, we're allies. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
ally is a word that they use, community is a word that they use. And so I don't want to alienate people. That's the word I was looking for. So for me to not alienate fans, I think my point of view is going to come from a place where I can see both sides, but also from a place of someone who is a conservative Christ follower that is going to list both sides and ultimately be the voice of reason, which should be very not polarizing at all. You know what I mean? Um, Chat, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but the voice of reason now has tended to be be shut off or shut down. Like, McKenna, you posted that picture on Instagram, very reasonable. Like, reason would say, hey, don't you normally wear a mask and preach wearing a mask? So now you're not. And I'm wondering why. Reason would question that.
Hmm.
So, but that's still going to alienate people, no matter what we do. So I think that's going to be a difficult thing for me, is to find a place where I can still preach my beliefs and speak on my beliefs and come from a place of love and compassion, but also speak on a place of reason that doesn't alienate anyone to say, I'm not going to follow this guy because obviously, he doesn't care about these people, and that's just not true. So, let's see. Yeah, the Silkies are back. I'm looking at some of these old comments here. Harley says McKenna's deflecting. We all know she loves the Silkies. At Trouble Green, always derailing the convo, but it's okay because I love those derails. Red
Well, for you,
food
it's Lord of
diet.
the Rings. Lord of the Rings derails it for you. Politics derails it for me.
Which is totally fine because I can speak on both, and you can speak on both. Now that you've watched more of
learning Lord of the Rings.
yeah, exactly. See, that was a false poll that you took. That was voter fraud because we have proof. Thank you, John. I appreciate you. John is speaking his truth. He's speaking his truth, and I appreciate it. You are welcome here. You are in a safe space.
That's just because you guys are all in the Silkies club.
Even Steve was really upset about AOC. Even he was saying that is just unacceptable and repulsive. Yeah, Harley says I'm waiting for you to get monetized before we get you banned. Yeah, no, I don't think that'll happen. I mean, if it does, you bet your ass I'll have another channel ready and raring to go right after it because I ain't going nowhere. Let's see. Wayne says that's a suspension. Well worth it, McKenna. I Google Silkies because I didn't see that infamous picture. Do you have an extra barf bag? Oh, come on.
I sure do.
Oh, no. It's funny. Speaking of barf bags, little Marine Corps story. Every time I got in a helicopter or an airplane, I had to have a barf bag with me because I do not do well flying. So funny anecdote about me. I most of the time had to bring a barf bag. I was that bad.
That's terrible. The only time I almost had to bring a barf bag was with Jay's Pizza in Nevada, our hiking trip in Nevada.
Was the only time you had to bring a wag
barf
bag or a barf bag? Oh,
a barf bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, those are two different bags. If anyone if anyone can tell us what the other one is in chat, let me know. Jay says I was boring in Vegas. No one talked to me. That's not true. Jay, you were immortalized for life with the memes that were coming out of Vegas. So you were not boring whatsoever. He also says Max doesn't have chat up lines. He's just a close talker. What's wrong with being a close talker? If you get close to someone, you really get to know who they are. Joe, how is it going, man? So good to see you, and thank you for stopping by. Congrats on over 600 subs. Yeah, it is super cool, and I'm very, very grateful to have that opportunity. For those of you who don't know, Joe is an author and of comic books and graphic novels, and I believe editor as well. Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but Joe and I were on the Comics Aficionados over on Thinking Critical's channel a few Saturdays ago. But Joe's an incredible writer, an intelligent dude, and just a really nice guy, which you don't find nowadays. He's very, very fun to hang out with. So thank you for being here, man. Marcus Henry says, yo, I like that. I like that icon, man. Swag. Let's see. Joe says, at least you guys won't disappoint me, unlike my useless college basketball team. Ooh, that sounds personal, Joe. I'm sorry to hear that. Must have been a bad loss for your basketball team. I'm sorry, brother. Hey, Steph from My Nerdy Home says, Max, hello, good to see you. Are you streaming tonight on? No, you streamed earlier today on Twitch. It was so fun to watch you. It's always fun to watch you on Twitch. It's like a different, version of like YouTube and Twitch. I always really like those streams, Steph. let's see. Sorry, give me 1 sec as I go through some of these. Codenomics says, sounds like McKenna just wants AOC for some loving.
That's what
I
she
don't
would
know.
say.
Exactly. That's her thought process.
Yeah.
And women and non-binary people all want AOC apparently. So
Apparently so.
Steve says, I'm a big fan of this channel because of all the hate you two bring. with the face like rolling their eyes. I'm hoping that's the face that he's
I
doing.
only bring hate with Silkies and like the occasional how much my cooking sucks on camping trips. Those two things I'll hate all day long.
Fair enough. Yeah, the hatred really reigns true for the Silkies. You really have a distaste for
But
the
you know,
Silkies.
I think that's because I was traumatized with the live stream and I think this was like my second live stream with you where we get on and you like no warning. You just have these photos of all these guys in Silkies on the screen. And I was like, what did I get myself into?
What that was like very early on in our friendship.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So that was my I'll take the blame for that. I probably should have given you forewarning. But yeah, that was a shock for sure.
Yeah.
Especially for someone who's not used to, I think just because I was so used to seeing Silkies, I'm just like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with this.
It's like but it's like the little biker shorts the guys wear. Like there's just certain level of thigh on a guy that just shouldn't be seen, in my opinion.
True. If you have to question it, you're already wrong. You know, like if you have to go like, is that too much? That it's already too much thigh. If you're thinking about it, too much.
See, and this is like a good piece of advice on the hiking trail as well. Sometimes you just walk by someone, you're like, "Ooh, those shorts are really short," and that's girls and guys. I've seen both on the trail.
I could see that, yeah, because even you know the new thing for women is to wear like the shorts like up to here, and they're like just
like
super. Yeah, they're like really pulled up to where like the ass cheeks are hanging out, and it's like, you know, I love a good, you know, Daisy Dukes. You gotta love you some good Daisy Dukes or short shorts, but like that's a different thing altogether. Yeah. Ash says, I know a lot of people in New York who love AOC. I mean, you're gonna get that. That tracks like in Los Angeles. I mean, look at California. I thought we were going to get rid of Newsom. Fuck no, 70+% of people were like, no, we want to keep him here. So beats me. I thought wild, you know. Roman says, say again.
That messed up all my hiking in the Sierras that I had planned. I pretty much switched all my plans after he was voted back in or stayed in. I completely changed up my plans. I'm just not interested in being in California for too long.
Yeah, that's a difficult part, and I wouldn't even know a lot about the hiking and traveling aspect of that. I know what he's brought to like the cities, you know, because I'm here in Orange County and San Diego and everything, but I wouldn't even begin to understand what that would look like for hiking trails and stuff like that. But
it has trickle effects that are kind of interesting.
Yeah. Roman's got nightmares of the pizza that you guys made. Creative blue collar guy John says that I might get shadow banned here. AOC might have said, or I guess she did say cauliflower was racist. I mean, what isn't now? You know what I mean? Anything that's white is bad. Like, so. Codenomics says, anyone that thinks they're the center of the world is an idiot. I'm the center. Everyone knows that. Grace says, Cobra Kai season 4 was better fight scenes than Matrix regurgitations. Hey, you know what? I believe that. I was watching a couple of clips from the new Matrix film. Oh my God, that looked like amateur stunt work. I mean, it didn't even look like, because with stunt work, you also have to have a good directorial eye of how you're going to move the camera around the fight scene, or like editing too. You can edit out little microseconds of a fight to make it look like the impacts hit harder, or that the bodies are moving faster. Like little things like that in pre and post production that you can do for fight scenes, and Matrix had none of that. It was embarrassing. I just don't even know what was going on. Let's see. The Trouble Green says, so like I went on an anti-feminist rant on my Bookstagram account, and I was sure I'd lose followers. I gained people. Oh, that's cool. Hey, that's great to hear. I'm so glad to hear that. And that's the thing is like there are going to be people out there who are going to hate you no matter what you say. And I think, you know, as a channel and as a show, for me, I know I have to recognize that. McKenna's pretty good about just being like, I don't care. I'm going to say whatever the hell I want.
I'm gonna, I'm the guest, you know, so I can kind of just say whatever I want to say.
She can be bad cop, you know, good cop, bad cop. Perfect. So I love that she speaks her mind, because I'll try and go, oh, maybe devil's advocate, maybe step on some eggshell or walk around some eggshells or whatnot. And she just dives right into it. So I love that she pushes me to really get more into my beliefs and the things that I want to stand for. Because like you said, a Troubled Green, you thought you were going to lose people, but you gain people. And like I said earlier, people are going to hate you no matter what you say, or they're going to love you because of your bravery or your courage or your morality or your ethics. So I'm thank you for sharing that. That was really cool. Mm-hmm. Let's see, Steph.
Right.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, we all know this is common sense, but it should not be the case that on American soil, our own social media platforms are like have the audacity to ban us over free speech. That should not even be on the table. So the fact that we're even dealing with that is just, it continues to blow my mind. I had so many friends just in the last 2 weeks speak openly on their Instagrams, and we're pretty, like, my Instagram is very small. I have a very small Instagram, and the fact that it was tagged and banned off of one post blows my mind. I mean, it's crazy how clocked in they are. So, you know, common sense on a social media platform, free speech should be honored on American soil. That's why we have the Constitution. So the fact that there is kind of this walking on eggshells just for these social media platforms, it's crazy.
That I completely agree with, because I shouldn't have to wonder, hey, am I going to make money? Like if my channel was monetized at the time of publishing this video, I would have to wonder, can I say this word? And if I do, and I get demonetized, I don't have money for my rent. You know what I mean? Like how fucked up is that? That someone would say something that they believe in, or something that may disagree with someone else, and now you can't pay for your food, or now you can't pay for your rent or your family. Like that, I 100% agree with you that social media should not be determining what is or what isn't harmful speech or regulated or whatnot. So in that regard, and like Gray says, these terms have become loaded, or words or terms. They've become hateful speech. And who's deeming that? Who is the judge that's saying this is where we draw the line? Because they have no, like you were saying earlier, McKenna, people are eating each other because there's no rules. It's, you know, every single day there's a new term, there's a new gender, there's a new activist group. And it's like, how don't you guys see there's no rules here? There's no conformity to a structure. You know, it's all just random picking at whatever that they can find.
Well, we have the Constitution, you know, which was put in place to maintain the size of the government and control the government, not the citizens. So it's very interesting to me that we're dealing with big tech and monopolies that are getting away with things that are unconstitutional. So anyway, this is a huge rabbit trail that we've jumped into. Obviously, I'm very passionate about this, but it just, like, it's been on my mind because I was temporarily suspended on my Instagram. I think it's my 4th or 5th time now to be suspended. Oof. John was suspended. Other friends were suspended. And it's just because we spoke something that was true.
You were also banned from Uber that one time.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a whole other story. So Uber, it's a whole other story. The short version of it is that because of the job that I was also kicked out of, I've been kicked out of a lot of things. Okay. It's just kind of like happens.
Bookstores, coffee shops. Yep.
Houses. Yeah. I've been kicked out of a lot of places. Yeah. But the Uber situation, I have a medical exemption from 2 separate doctors, medical exemptions. So according to ADA, that should be honored, period, across the board. Uber disagreed. And they required me to take a photo of myself wearing a mask to be able to request a ride. And I was like, to hell with this, I will walk. So now I can't use Uber.
And that's why we were late to the Nerdrotic meetup. No, I'm kidding. We were on time.
I was like last second. I was like, by the way, I'm so sorry. My Uber app is useless. I'll have to get a taxi.
No, that was we were able to make it over there, and it was totally fine. And Roman helped us out as well, which was awesome. But I like forgot because I was like, oh yeah, my Uber account like doesn't work, and McKenna can't get in an Uber, so we're kind of screwed. No. My Nerdy Home Steph says, I'm so happy I met Max. I am so happy I met you, Steph. We bonded in Vegas over Batman and Red Hood and comics, so much so that we've done a couple videos and a couple streams on my channel, which I've been super grateful for her to swing by and come do those because they were so much fun. So Steph, they really were. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say they were great, really interesting topics. And there was something, Steph, you had mentioned to him that, so this was on the video that you guys did about relationships. I think it was basically you guys talking about like power couples in comics. And Steph mentioned that the couples that you choose are always these like extremely traumatized, like horrible stories. And she's questioning your sanity. And I found that very interesting as well.
Yeah, if you guys have watched that video, it's a great insight into just how messed up my like sensibility of what I think a relationship is or should be. And it's probably, it doesn't help that all the comic books that I've read have just perpetuated that. But, because obviously the golden child of that is Superman. Superman and Lois are the exemplary figure, or like Spider-Man and Mary Jane. Those are like Marvel and DC when it comes to relationships. Those are held on the mantle as like the best of the best. Yeah. But for me, I like the fucked up ones that are like Wolverine and Jean Grey. And I won't go into it. You guys can watch the video.
I agree.
Really. Yeah, thank you for saying that. They're really interesting insights. But fun to talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Gray says, we've lost the freedom to ask questions on certain topics, quote unquote. Yeah, we've lost the freedom to ask questions on anything, in my opinion. Certain topics, yes, but honestly, anything. I mean, look at comic books, Gray. Comic books, I wouldn't say are certain topics. I wouldn't say that comic books are inherently a dehumanizing platform or something that polarizes people. I would say comic books is a way to bring people together as a form of escapism, and one of the greatest storytelling mediums ever brought to Earth. And yet we can't question when we see stuff that we don't agree with. So it's very interesting that certain topics have now become like everything,
I will say, especially having like been kicked out of Uber, I do understand feeling like you've lost the freedom to talk about certain things. I don't think though that we have lost the freedom to discuss anything. I think that we are just as free now as we were ever. I think now, though, it takes more of a spine to continue to speak, because the loud minority does try to slap you on the hand or worse. And again, like I have been kicked out of places. I have lost a job over this. Like, yes, I have seen the consequences of standing on freedom, but I don't think that we've actually lost our freedom. I think right now there is huge division because there's a very specific group trying to divide. And I think that now more than ever, it's very important we just continue to speak on those things and just to continue to recognize that, no, we are free. We do still have the Constitution. We do still have these values. We just have to continue to preserve them as individuals.
So, and that brings up a great question that I guess I would ask because, well, maybe not necessarily a question, but I do have playing devil's advocate, of course, again, because I have to. Because I agree with what you're saying. We still have the freedom instilled in us that we were born with in this country, that we have fought for, as, Marines, myself a Marine, guys in the chat who are Army, Navy, Marine Corps, whatever. Those of us who have fought for that freedom that we are deserved and that we've earned and that we've grown up with, we still can say whatever we want to and do the things that we still love to with that freedom. But now it's persecution of that freedom. And I think that's the difference. And that's why people feel like they don't have freedom anymore. It's because people are being persecuted because of that. If I have the freedom to question why are they making me wear a mask here? Or why are they making this superhero character this way? I have the freedom to ask those questions, but if I do so, I'm now labeled as someone who is not human, who is subhuman, who is dehumanized and tossed aside. And I think that is the fear being instilled into people.
Well, I was going to say, on that note, my response to that, and like, I get it. But my response is, so what? Because I lost a job over this. And I took personal ownership of my own life and have created much better opportunities, more financial affluence, much better community, better friends, better coworkers. And so I think it's a balance between, like, I understand exactly what you're saying, but there's also fear at play. So I go back to like the airport thing. So me traveling around recently, I have not worn a mask in the airport. And one of my plane rides did not wear a mask walking down the aisle, didn't wear a mask sitting in the seat. And you hear these horror stories about what will happen to you if you do that in an airport. And I was walking around, no one said a word to me. And it really just got me thinking, okay, how much of our actions right now are out of fear? Where no, we are still very free. We're just acting like we're not free because we're afraid. And again, like, lost a job, have lost friends, lost things. But having stood on freedom this whole time and not backed away from that, I've gained so much more. So I kind of feel like the only way through the persecution is to go through it, to get to the other side of it, to where that minority is just put in their place.
Yeah, it's, because at some point, like you said, the pendulum will swing back. I'm a little bit more cynical. I think it's going to take a decade until we see some sort of semblance of humanity. Because right now, people are not treating people as other humans or should be treated. Like, everyone is treating people like shit, just across the board. And it's a lot of fear tactics. It's a lot of polarization, dehumanization, all that stuff that I've been saying earlier. And all that stems from fear, like you said. And so I don't think people are treating people with any sort of respect. And we won't see that for, at least in my opinion, my cynical opinion, another decade, unfortunately, until we see that pendulum swing back, until we really have a sense of, we can look back on a time that was like, what the fuck were we doing? Like, what really, like, I forget who, it was someone on FNT. It was one of the gentlemen who was in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. And he was saying that when people look back at this time frame, psychologists are going to have massive amounts of research and studies to do on just the mental health and degeneracy of people in this time frame, in this period of time in this society. And I'm really interested to see what they conclude and what the history books are going to tell of this period of time, because I'm afraid of what it's going to say, but I'm also really intrigued to find out what those researchers, psychologists, and um, scientists, I use that term lightly, find from these cases of just mental illness or what, because that's, it really seems like there is just so much hatred and mental illness and bitterness and aggression, all this stuff that just is very, very, it's a lot of fear tactics. Well,
Yeah.
the fear tactics are causing that type of mental degeneration.
Yeah, a lot of fear tactics, a lot of control tactics. And I guess just on an individual basis, if you just continue to go, okay, are the tactics working on me? If they are, I'm going to take ownership of that and I'm going to choose into something different. I'm not going to give in to the fear and whatever. I'm actually going to stand on freedom. I do think that's just kind of how we end up turning the tides. And I think that I probably say this every live stream, like broken record. For me in my life, it's working beautifully.
Absolutely. And yeah, for some people, like obviously we, everyone here is a big proponent of Gina Carano. She lost her job and gained a new platform and a new following of people who back her and support her and will literally, like, maybe not die for her, but die for her cause, of that. Do not comply, rebel, and don't just, my mom always says, if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything, and of course Rhonda would say that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, words of wisdom from mom, gotta love her.
Yep.
So with all that being said, and kind of bringing it back to where kind of what you were speaking about earlier and how we were kind of got on this topic, was, from what I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, was basically that we still have the same freedom that we are allotted from birth, but we're not acting like it. And we need to start acting like it, or else it will be taken from us. It will not be something that we have anymore if we continue to act like we don't have that. For me, I think for me personally, I can say it's not a fear thing. It's a alienation. I feel bad whenever I don't try and include someone, or when I at least don't try and have a conversation with someone and try and see where they're coming from. Because a lot of people will try and straw man arguments and go, well, you're just a racist. And it's like, okay, you obviously don't want to have a conversation with me, because now you're just trying to insult me, or you're trying to dehumanize me or whatnot. Wayne says here, if people can't see reason, it's pointless to try and have a serious debate or conversation. And that's exactly true. So I think for me, the reason why I walk on eggshells at times is because, not because of fear, but because of that reason that I want to try and instill. But I know that if I approach it from a place of aggression or a place of, pride, like I know more than you do, then no one will ever want to listen to what I have to say, because they'll just automatically get turned off and go, okay, you're a racist. All right, you're a bigot. All right, you're a supremacist, white supremacist, whatever. And then they won't have a conversation with me. So that's why I think I try to come at it from a different angle, if that makes sense. Because I don't want to alienate that other side of people who go, hey, this guy has some good points. Let's see if we can hear him out. I don't agree with him, but I at least want to hear him, instead of just being automatically like, white, he's got a beard, he's military, and he's a Christian. Yeah, fuck that guy. It's like, I've got everything going against me right now.
Yeah, so, especially in California gyms at the moment.
Oof. Hey, actually, the gym I go to, I went there this morning. No masks. I won't wear, because I don't want to. I don't want I don't want to dox them, but the gym that I was at in Orange County, no masks.
That's great. It's good for them.
That's hey, good for. I'm very, very proud of them. So. Real quick, I've been looking at this comment forever because McKenna, I would love for you to answer this. But he says, MVP McKenna, have y'all hiked around the Asheville, North Carolina area? I went this summer and I loved it. I have not been to North Carolina. I've been to Virginia. That was the closest because I was at a Marine Corps base. But McKenna, what about you?
Yeah, it's been a long time. So years ago, yes. And it's beautiful, because I'm from Tennessee. So I'm kind of up and down the east. So yeah, beautiful. But it's actually, I've had it brought up to me multiple times lately to go back to that area. So it's on the list for Jay and I to kind of go explore that area at some point.
Nice. Okay. Well, you heard it here first, Legion. She might go check it out with Jay. Steve says silkies are straight up nasty and no man should ever wear shorts like that unless they're going under your pants and you're 5 years old.
That's the best comment ever.
Thank you, Steve. You poured gasoline on an already lit fire that is McKenna with this. So thank you for
just earned major brownie points. So well done.
Yeah, you're her favorite fan in chat now. So Jay says this was a while ago, but he says, yeah, that pizza was bad. I'm not sure why McKenna made me buy it.
Next he's going to say they made him buy the Red Rider.
Yeah. Oh, yep. That's right.
Yeah.
Bryce, one sec. Bryce says wag bags. Yeah. If you know, you know.
Yep.
Klobby says MVP. Congrats on 600, my friend. Onward and upward. Hey, onward and upward, my friend. I can only go up from here, right? I hope. I don't want to go down from here. So, guys, I will be with Clobberin Times on his channel next week on Wednesday. We're going to do a comic book retrospective on Superman. Whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, which was one of the greatest Superman stories ever told. So catch me on Clobberin Times channel next week on Wednesday the 12th. Let's see. I'm going to go through some of these chats real quick. So if you guys don't mind me, I'll see. Steve says Newsom was totally rigged. People who were trying to vote were being told that they already voted. That dude's a nightmare to stay. Yeah, so I actually can attest to that. One of my friends went to the voting booths and did the same thing, went to cast his ballot, and the booth told him before he signed in, and it said, "Thank you for your vote," and he hadn't voted yet. So some of that, some of that voter fraud that McKenna knows so much about her Silky's Instagram post.
Oh, shut it. That cannot be confirmed.
It is 100%. I mean, Newsom was pretty much, we all know it's confirmed that he had some sort of voter fraud, but no one did anything about it. Same thing here. Yeah. We know it's voter fraud, but we still can't do anything about it. There's still, the poll that was made. So,
but I never claimed that my Instagram was a democracy. That's the difference.
So you're just you preach democracy, but your Instagram page is a dictatorship.
I mean, if the left can way is so can I.
Oh man. Lord Thoth, hey, thank you, brother. Semper Fi, he says congratulations. What do the Canadian military say? I would love to hear is it like hooah? No, hooah is Army. Oorah is Marine Corps. So yeah, what is your military term? But thank you for being here, dude.
Hey, how's it going,
Hey, how's it going, eh? Oh no, I almost did a Swedish Chef there for a second. Don't get me started on Swedish Chef. Real quick, Gray says dope baseball cap, by the way. Hey, thanks, dude. Yeah, Gary gave this to me at Vegas meetup. Real quick, we've got 26 people watching live right now. That is the most I think we've gotten on this show. So I just want to say thank you for everyone who is in the chat, who's watching, who's lurking, whatever you're doing out there. I want to give a huge thank you to everyone for helping me get to 600. McKenna has been a huge part of that. I always tell her she's like one of the main reasons for why this show is a success. I really couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity to speak my mind and also have a platform where I can talk about like stuff that I love and just like nerd out about cool comic book characters or like statues and have this like studio. I mean, it's something that I love so much, and I really enjoy sharing it with everyone else. So, like I said, this road to 600 has been awesome, and it's only going to grow from here. And so, chat, if you guys can think of anything that you would like to see from myself or McKenna or both of us, either on this show or on my channel with comic book reviews or whatnot, please let me know. You can always DM me as well on my Instagram or whatnot. I would love to get your take and see if you guys want something that you would want to see from either one of us. So like I said, we've got 25 to 27 people kind of going back and forth now watching. So with all of you guys being here, thank you. It's really been a really cool ride to do this, have this new, like, it's not a career because I'm not getting paid yet, but it's a really cool hobby. And I couldn't ask for anything better. So let's see. Oh, looks like I have the Uber Geek. He says, I've only just now discovered you and glad I did. Speaking of speaking out, Jack Murphy's had a busy week, hasn't he? Oh, no. Well, real quick, Uber Geek, thank you for being here, brother. You said you've just now discovered and you're glad that you did. Well, hey, I am glad you are here, my man. So thank you for being here. That is awesome. Whew. Jack Murphy has had one hell of a week. One hell of like 2 weeks, I guess. McKenna, do you know anything about what's going on with Jack Murphy? Does that name?
I was just waiting for that question. Can I Google it really quick so I can catch
Absolutely.
up?
Yeah, please do. While I read some of these chats, you are more than welcome to. Let's see. Harley says, people get warned whenever they follow me on Instagram. That just lets them know I speak the truth. Yeah, isn't it funny how, and I've seen this with some of your stuff too, McKenna, and John's and Harley's, but like whenever I watch your stories, it says, please see the CDC for these regulations or for all the COVID information, go to this website, or these conversations, like on Twitter, these conversations might be harmful. Please be mindful of what you say. Like, what?
Yeah.
That's absolute insanity. Like that is absolute propaganda. Like if I were to post something about sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But I've always thought it was interesting, like if I posted a Bible verse and I said, oh, my morning reading, from Psalms. If someone posted that on their story and it came up like, hey, you might want to read the Bible and just fact check before, like, that's insanity. Like, are you serious? Like, how does that even compute? So that's wild, Dave, that people still get that notification when they go on your Instagram. Oh, no shit. The Holocaust Museum has now required visitors show them their job papers to enter. That is horrifying, dude. That, like, yeah.
Horrifying?
That accent?
Yeah.
It's better than my Swedish chef. So
no, Swedish Chef for the win. Everyone loves the Swedish Chef, by the way.
They like yours probably better than mine, honestly.
No. So after I posted my like gag reel of bloopers on my Instagram, I have like it's like maybe 2 seconds of me speaking Swedish Chef, which was a throwback to you speaking Swedish Chef, like during the entirety of one of our live streams. And I'm getting so many DMs, people like, yeah, there's Max's Swedish Chef. So it's really funny.
Yeah, thank you for posting those bloopers. They absolutely made my entire year. 2 highlights. Within the past week, I got an FNT shout out and I got McKenna's bloopers with Swedish Chef. Who could ask for anything more?
What's sad is like, that's literally what I posted is a fraction of the bloopers. And this is just from me trying to film the intros to the veteran interviews so I can finally get them off to you guys. And I mean, literally, it was like an hour's worth of bloopers. So I'm well on my way.
Speaking of which, how has that been? Now, real quick, I want to so keep this question in your back pocket. I'm going to answer a couple more chats real quick, but I want to ask you, how has that been for you editing, doing the interviews? How do you feel in front of the camera as opposed to behind it? Because I know you're a photographer for these for these weddings. So think about your answer real quick while I read through some of these chats, because I think everyone would really love to hear your side of what is it like to edit, film, make questions, be on that side of thing. So Lord Thos says, Air Force, dude, my bad. I thought you were maybe the Canadian Air Force, or is it just Air Force in general? That's my bad. I'm sorry about that. One of my Air Force friends said that instead of saying hooah or oorah, y'all say hooty hoo. I was like, there's no way y'all say hooty hoo. There's absolutely no way, but hey, I could be wrong. Dave says, just change the stream name to Binary Conservative Chat and watch the world burn. Yeah, it's funny how, if I were to say, yeah, I'm going to talk about my faith, I'm automatically labeled as not as being like part of the problem. And I'm like, that's not very inclusive of people, right? I wouldn't think that's inclusive if they're not accepting of all religions. Thought. Lord Thought says Superman would have been Air Force. I think he would have been like Captain America, like good old Army. He's not as psychopathic as like a Marine Corps Punisher. You know what I mean? You really got to be messed up to be in the Marine Corps. Harley says you haven't lived until you've been called a baby killer by a purple-haired societal reject. Wow, did that actually happen, Dave? I don't know if I don't necessarily think what am I trying to say? I don't believe that didn't happen. I think that sounds like it could have absolutely happened in today's world. So sad. Gray says escapism, entertainment, and good old-fashioned fun. There are still comics and TVs and movies that simply entertain. Agreed. You just got to look for them. The future, what does Gary always say? The future is in the past. And I could not agree more. Yeah. Codenomics, I work remotely 100% from home. My company is talking again about requiring vaccines. I may lose my job. Ooh, man, Code, I am so sorry to hear that, brother. Hey, anything that we can do to help, even if it's just support, let us know. Brightest Day, Zach with even he was saying that they're going to mandate that if he doesn't get the job, that he must get weekly tests, which are, hundreds of dollars. Wow. Or health insurance or whatnot. Makes your health insurance go up for those weekly tests. So it's like, at what point, are you losing money? Are you going to lose your job? Mm-hmm. It's scary for a lot of people. Let's see. Gray also says, that's good to hear. I was talking about asking questions about that virus of no unknown origin and what we have put into our bodies. Media stokes the fear. Absolutely. Gray, what is it like in Japan? Do you still see that type of fear, or have things cooled down a bit? I'm intrigued to hear that. Let's see. Trouble Green says, Max, I think this also comes back into what state we're living in. You and I are in blue states, but McKenna, aren't you and I in red states? Let's see. I think the clouds of despair that hang over blue states gets to us. Trouble Green, I would 100% agree with that, because I remember going up to Los Angeles for a signing with one of my favorite artists and creators. And while I was in Los Angeles, people just seem to be like miserable up there. Now, granted, it is LA, and it's going downhill as far as like there are so many homeless, and there's no aid for anyone. There's no help that is being, because it's either you're super rich in like Beverly Hills, or you're super poor and barely getting by in Los Angeles. So it was pretty demoralizing to see all that. So I wonder if, because I'm in a blue state, that I see more of that here. I don't know. Soul Assassin says people are starting to become more aware to the nonsense happening. I give it another 5 years. Yeah, like I said, man, my cynical mind says 10, but I don't know. Steve says, speaking of Gina, she just posted this. Judge stays Biden vax mandate for dozens of Navy SEALs seeking religious exemption. Oh yeah, they've been doing that for a while, brother. In the Marine Corps, I got out right before they mandated the jab, because my contract ended right before then, and they were guilt tripping all of my Marines, my young Marines who, 18, 19 years old, don't know their left foot from their right foot. And they were saying, I just, whatever, I'll get it. They don't know any better. And so, of course, they were, and then the guys who actually did question it, the Marine Corps was coming down and saying, if you don't get this jab, and this is the kind of sinister part of it, if you don't get this jab, you are not going on the deployment, which will limit you and will effectively make you combat ineffective. And so your brother cannot rely on you to be in combat. And if that's not the most fucked up thing I've ever heard in the military, that was literally what I heard, a conversation between two Marines happen, a first sergeant and a young Marine, saying, if you don't want to go on this deployment, if you don't want to support your brothers, then sure, yeah, don't get the jab or whatever. So now they're just mandating it across the board because, of course, in Marine Corps, in military in general, you can mandate anything without question. That is what, the military is discipline. It is order. So you can do, mandate anything that they want without question, which is kind of sick, but
blows my mind.
Yeah, that was one of that's how I knew, like, I still had about like a week or so until I was getting out. And I was like, it's probably good that I'm getting out at this point in time.
Yeah.
Arizona is so different from New Mexico, and I feel so much freer there. Oh, good to hear. Okay. Gina rocks. She did nothing wrong. Agreed. Children yell and argue. Grown-ups have conversations. You would hope so, man. I don't know. People are acting more and more like children. The schools are teaching our children to fear. And it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Mid-Ohio Jedi Order. Code says, I want to... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Did you see my stories with Mara Jade?
Yes, yeah. She was so excited for that Star Wars stuff.
That's her family. So they have a really, really fun channel. They're the sweetest family. She had a birthday recently, and then I sent her and her family some Christmas goodies, and they are just adorable. They tagged me in a video that is so cute of them.
I love that. I'm so upset at myself I didn't take a video. I'm the worst. I'm sorry.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. I kind of passed it along, but yeah. No, it was a lot of fun, like sending them a video.
She looked so stoked. For those of you who don't know, McKenna has a family friend who's their daughter, Mara Jade, named after a Star Wars character. That's her actual name. McKenna put on this whole thing where she made a video for her, and with all these different channels, and like put together all these like cool Star Wars gifts and gifted that to her for Christmas. Just really, really selfless thing to do. And it's exactly why we love McKenna here, right?
So it was actually Mara's dad. So he asked everyone that he knew to send in videos. And you guys let me know if I'm butchering this, but from what he told me, he had asked a lot of people to send in videos. And so I watched the video montage he put together. So many people sent her videos. And from what I know, it was family friends of theirs, but also people like me who they just met over the internet. And it was really cool. I mean, I think if you have a little girl who's passionate about Star Wars and, jumps into this community with us, of course, we're just going to be like, yes, like send you a happy birthday video, send you gifts. So it was really fun to see. They're a sweet family.
That's so rad. I love that. Anytime you see a child filled with that type of joy, it's like those Christmas morning videos of like the kids getting the
Yeah.
Nintendo and they're just so excited, you know. I love that stuff. Or when you get a Samwise Gamgee replica sword from the films and you act like a little kid and your jaw drops on live video, where that happens too. Lord Thoth says, how long till 700? Hey man, I'm giving it, you know, so I consistently was getting about 100 subs a month, and then I had this blow up. So with you know, I got to produce more content. I realized that I have to broadcast it for a large audience. And I also have to utilize my friends to help me through that, you know, like Gary, like Quarter Black, like Steph, like Jay, like everyone who has these larger platforms. I have to reach out to them and ask them the right questions. So with all that being said, 700 is just right around the corner. Probably 1,000 is not far off that. So let's see. Ooh, I like this one. John said, where is your Thor, McKenna? That's a great question.
It is right behind me. So I realized that we joke about and there's a little bit of a lag here, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. But we joke about my setup almost every live stream because, again, I am learning as I go. So this time I don't have my computer on a fish tank. It's on a table, but I'm kind of like positioned differently. My Thor is right here. I think you guys can see him. Maybe not.
I think so. Let's see if
next time you guys can see him, but he's right behind me. Okay, hold on. I have to like. It's kind of behind the chair here.
There he is. I can see his cape.
Yeah. There we go.
Nice.
Okay, so Roman sent this to me, which is glorious because, as you guys know, I love Thor. Like, he is like my one man crush celebrity. So, yeah, Roman sent this. He's a gem, and hopefully it's the first of many Thors. So I'm gonna put him right here, actually.
See, I was having a hard time, and I was saying, soon your room shall look like this. Very, very soon you will have lots of goodies and lots of little trinkets and toys.
I'm so ready.
And then, which is difficult because for those of you who know McKenna, she is a minimalist. She can pack up and leave in like 2 seconds. She needs a pack and she can start hiking and just going. For me, not so much. I've got way too much stuff, and most of it is pretty, I wouldn't say worthless. It has sentimental value, but in the grand scheme of things, probably I do not need like 95% of this stuff, you know. That's why it's fun. So let me go up a bit. And guys, I do apologize if I have missed your comments. You guys have been so awesome tonight that I haven't been able to catch up with everyone. So I am going to hey Sam, what's up? Devin, good to see you, dude. Canadian military says, oh sorry, eh? Yeah, I could see that, yeah. Oorah and oh sorry, eh? It sounds about right. Let's see. Harley says, yeah, no one's here for Max or comics. True. This show, no one who's a fan of me is here for that. Ken says, you guys rock. Hey, thanks, man. You rock as well. Let's see. Mid-Ohio Jedi Order. McKenna is amazing. I agree. Max, you don't seem bad either. Hey. I'll take it. Thank you. He says, just playing. You're awesome, Max. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Soul Assassin says, I didn't know who Jack Murphy was till a few days ago. Oh, and Gray, by the way, McKenna doesn't have a channel name. However, in the description, I've put her both her Instagrams, the Rebellion Expeditions, and her personal one. So if you guys want to follow her and support her there, you can absolutely do that. We are planning on doing a channel for her at some point in time, or you can go over to Jay Walking the Planet, which she also has a ton of videos over there with Jay. So that's how you can go support her. Yeah, Roman says for Jack Murphy, don't Google too closely. You might not you might find some stuff that you might not want to see.
Yeah, one
So,
Google search is enough for me. That's all I need to know.
yeah, not he's been plugged by a lot of YouTubers recently, and I mean plugged. That is a implication.
Yep.
That is a pun. So let's see. Harley says democracy dies in thunderous applause. Vader's wife. Yeah, Code says I don't think he has a YouTube. Oh my god, you two are so funny. I don't know what that's in reference to, but thank you. I hope we are funny. Exactly. Maybe it's my Hergy Burgy Dorgy Bergie Swedish Chef impression, or maybe it's just our jokes. But I can't tell. MVP needs a Swedish MVP chef.
I agree. Yes.
That would be great. Oh man.
I should have posted that on my Instagram grid, because I posted your Swedish chef on my stories with the whole, like, I think I broke Max or something like that. But it should be like memorialized on my grid right beside my bloopers.
Yeah, the Swedish chef, like, we should have a GIF or something, like something that plays, or maybe I can put something on our StreamYards link here that, like, perfect. I can play of Swedish chef every time someone comes on. So
yeah, I mean, just let's the hell out of people even more. That's great.
Well, for those who follow us, we've still got about 20 people watching. I think for the majority, they know Swedish Chef. It has been immortalized by the clip that you put on for me. Thank you. That sounded like I was having a stroke, so lovingly. But then anytime. You did it in your bloopers, and now it's a thing. Now it's like forever. Because you had also done it. Now it's just fantastic. So I'm so glad that we're both there. Let's see. Gray says Japan is fairly relaxed about it at the moment. It's on the news all the time, though. There's a mask culture here. People usually wear masks during flu and hay fever seasons. Yes, I have heard that before. So I do know that the Japanese tend to be more cautious when it comes to that, and will wear masks just as culture deems it, like during those flu seasons. So makes sense. But I'm glad to hear that it's fairly relaxed at this moment. Let's see. Tell a Marine he can't go into combat. Faulty. True. That is, you never want to tell a Marine that he cannot go into combat or do his job. That is not something you want to do. They will not take kindly to that. All right, so I am so sorry. He goes, yeah, the videos are now 19 minutes long. Wow, that's great. Mara was so excited for the video and the gifts. Thanks again. That's awesome, man. I'm so glad to hear that. Man, I didn't even realize it was almost 20 minutes long, McKenna. That's great.
Yeah. No, she had a lot of people sending clips to wish her a happy birthday. And then her dad put it all together. So it was really, really fun.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Lord Thos says, McKenna, my wife walked in when you held up Thor. She swooned.
I mean, who would not swoon over Thor, honestly. So the funny thing is, too, the fact that I had a major crush on Thor was a secret, like a family joke, but a secret for years. And then when one of us brought it up on a live stream, I was like, crap. That secret's out. But it is literally just, it's not even like, let me just clarify once and for all. It's not Chris Hemsworth. Like, I really don't have a big celebrity crush. It's Thor. Like, it's the long-haired Thor. As soon as he chopped his hair, that was it. It was over. Yeah. But this version of Thor, like, beautiful,
It is the icon of who Thor is. Not necessarily the actor Chris Hemsworth. It is just the embodiment of male masculinity Thor, right?
Yeah. And his body. Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course. Even I'm like, oh, that body is killer.
I mean, I wish I was, yeah. I wish it wasn't as funny, but yeah.
There's a reason why one of the statues up here, one of the largest ones I have is Thor. Like I look at that every morning and go, well, a man can dream.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a miracle that I did not like steal that out of your studio when I was there. I thought about it. I was like, I'm gonna put that in my bag.
One, it would have broken. Two, it's way too heavy. Three, it's so awkward. There's like a sword, at least you can lay flat, like in your suitcase.
Yeah.
There's no way. He would have come in pieces, unfortunately, if you brought
I'm
him on a
determined.
plane.
I could have found a way.
Well, good thing Roman hooked you up though, because he's very excited for your collection, because he says it all starts with one.
Yeah.
It's true. McKenna can attest to the fact that in the past month I've bought two new statues. And I should not be doing that, but sure enough, I did. So you guys can't see behind me, like directly behind me, behind my seat, but there's a statue I'm waiting to unveil to the world because it's pretty rad. And it's in honor of Gary helping me out with the. It's an homage to Gary and Mrs. Nerdrotic. It's one of his favorite characters. So I said, you know what, this is gonna look good, and he's one of my favorite characters too. So I got that statue and said, we'll wait. I'll wait and I'll post a video about it later, so you guys will see it soon.
Yeah.
Oh, Devin goes, she's not a minimalist. I've seen her shoe closet. Damn, being called out. I like that. Thank you, Devin.
That's not an understatement. So I love shoes, and I own way too many. I mean, actually, you can't own way too many shoes, but I own a lot of shoes. I need like a bigger closet to fit them. Like, honestly, I will post a photo. They are on the floor. They're on, like, I have a stack of shoes. It's a problem. But the good thing is, I am still willing to give them away as soon as I have to like move somewhere. I'm pretty good at that. Everyone, take a drink. His camera's out again.
I'm all out. It's gone out so many times. Yeah. I'm out of drink.
I think this is the first live stream that you have coffee, by the way.
You know what? I had coffee earlier, and because I was just feeling myself today. For those of you who don't know, I felt awful yesterday, and I almost called off the live stream. I was super sick, and then today I felt amazing. So I just was like rocking through all these chores and work and live stream stuff. So I felt really, really good today, thankfully. But all that being said, the coffee this afternoon helped. So I didn't even need some tonight, which is great.
Well.
Oh boy, here we go. She found the Elrond Sideshow on eBay. I need to sell a few things in my Etsy shop. Yeah. So the Elrond is one of the most. He's a very underrated character, but he is one of the reasons why the Fellowship is brought together. If you read the book again, it's beautiful how he puts them together at the table in Rivendell, because technically these men and dwarves and elves and everyone who's in that scene, they're all there not because they're the best at what they do. You know, they're not the best warriors, they're not the best hunters or farmers. They're the best leaders and supporters. The reason why those men and dwarves and elves were all chosen in that fellowship was because they were the best at what they were going to do, which was help Frodo get the ring to Mount Doom. I was watching an analyzing of that chapter, and the professor who was talking about that was saying how Aragorn was not the best ranger. He was not the best warrior, but he was the most moral, ethical. He was going to be the one to go the farthest without being corrupted. And that's why he was chosen. That's why he stood up. That's why he was part of that fellowship. So it's just such a great way to have these characters imbued into that story. I love that. I thought it was such a cool little bit of information. Let's see. Oh, and Devin says not to mention all her birds.
Yeah.
Apparently you have lots of birds and fish. So
yeah, I do. Yeah, I have a lot.
Lord Thoth, thank you for stopping by. Great to see you, brother. I know you got to head out, so have a great night. Also, Gray is heading out, and Salmon heading out, or Salmon's saying bye. Yes. And Gray got a dash. That was a lot of fun. Later's Max and McKenna. Always a pleasure to have you here, dude. And Trouble Green says Elrond is my favorite character, hands down. Oh wow, that's cool. I did not realize that. And Devin says congrats on 600. Thanks, dude. Thank you so much. That is very kind of you to say. Thank you. And a Trouble Green says, sorry, I failed miserably, not derailing the conversation. That's okay. It's bound to happen. At this point, it's not a Max and McKenna show without us doing that.
No,
Okay. Now we are all caught up on the chat. I'm so sorry. We are finally at the last chat that I can see without scrolling anymore. So McKenna, please explain to us how your experience was doing the interviews, editing, and being in front of the camera like that.
I'm so impressed that you remember that question. Like, full honesty here, I completely forgotten that you asked that question. Okay, so doing the veteran interviews has been, number one, amazing. Like, actually running the interviews and getting to talk to veterans. I hope that I do this for the rest of my life. I have loved it.
Oh, wow.
It is officially a 2022 project as well. I can tell it's just something that I love. Editing the interviews, on the other hand, has been a learning curve like no other. So again, for me, this is completely new for me. So I have edited photos en masse for weddings and whatever, and I've edited like small videos, but to edit a 1 to 2 hour video, I have a lot of respect for people who do this for a living, because it takes, I mean, some of the interviews I've probably spent 8 hours on one interview just editing. So I'm sure that will get quicker as I learn. But yeah, the editing has been a doozy. So the veterans I've interviewed so far have given me this beautiful grace period to send them their interviews a little bit after Christmas, which I really appreciate. But having said all of that, I have, like, going from being a photographer who's like usually not in the camera to actually doing these interviews, it's been really, really fun. I really enjoyed it. I 100% prefer being a guest though, because the amount of brain power it takes for you guys to stay like on track is amazing. So yeah, it's been fun.
What do you find hardest about the editing process, I guess? And well, first of all, I'll just say a huge thank you to you for sacrificing your time and effort and money to supporting a cause like doing the veteran interviews. And of course we're going to be, of course we're going to say, yeah, like make it a 2022 project, not a big deal at all. Like that is like not even an issue. But I think we say that because we're just so grateful for you to take the time to want to know these stories. I think that's what makes it so great. So, so yeah, what about the editing process? Do you think editing was more difficult than coming up with questions or keeping the conversation on track? What was that like?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm sure that's different for everyone. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, but the hardest part for me has been the editing. Specifically, the fact that I've learned I don't shut up. I ramble. And these interviews are not about me. They're about the veterans. So having to take the question that I was asking and cut it down to just the bare minimum has been a doozy. So, and I knew this was going to be a learning curve. I knew that just jumping into this, there were going to be things I didn't even expect to learn. That I have to figure out as I go. And I'm so grateful to every veteran for, again, just that grace to allow me to learn through you guys. You guys have been my guinea pigs the first round of interviews. But yeah, by far the editing has been the more challenging part for me. And it'll be interesting doing interviews a year from now, looking back on these interviews. I joke about this a lot, but expect me asking every veteran I've interviewed right now, please let me interview you again, like a redo, because I'm learning a lot.
Well, even, and this was what, 2 months ago that some of these interviews were taken. And even now you're like, even in the span of 2 months, you're like, man, I could have done that better. Or, and that's just, and I think a lot of us can agree that is just the kind of the mind of a creator, and also the mind of a hard worker, of someone who wants to be successful. They're always going to try and like nitpick their own work because they're going to say, oh, I could have done this better, or I should have added that, to really make this like the best it can possibly be. Let's see. Dave says, he says, McKenna, how have you been impacted by the conversations?
Oh man, that question could take a lot to unpack. Because for me, every conversation I have learned so much. Every veteran that's come to do an interview has obviously a completely different backstory, different motivations to what motivated them to join the military and what kept them motivated throughout their careers. The stories that have been brought to the table have blown my mind. Even when I've had veterans say, I really don't have much to talk about. No, they show up for an interview and there's just so much that I personally have learned from their stories. And that I'm thrilled to publish for you guys as well. So I don't even know how to give you a list of how I've been impacted, because I think it's something that will continue to impact me over time, and it's something that I'm continuing to learn from daily. Especially going back and editing, I'm hearing these stories over and over, and there's so many more questions I could have asked each individual. So for me, going through these interviews has just been enriching beyond belief. So yeah, I don't really know how to give you an answer other than it's been a massive impact. I think we lost Max, so we'll see.
Yeah.
There you
Sorry
are.
about that, guys. There's a reason why I'm having Time Warner Cable come out on Thursday to look at my router.
Oh,
So
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry about that. I apologize if I missed anything, guys. McKenna was pretty much riding the show until I dropped out. So I apologize. It was funny. I was on Gary's Nerdrotics like member stream that they have like I think once a month or so, and I couldn't even talk to like the stream members because my like image was so blurry and my sound was so terrible that everyone was like, I can't understand. Like you're just like you're like what Wi-Fi is so bad right now. It was so embarrassing. So I apologize, guys. We're working off of a small budget here. Okay, we're doing what we can. So, but thanks for hanging in.
Speaking of like editing buckles.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I wasn't there for the rest of what you had to say, McKenna, but what you were talking about as far as the impact that some of these interviews have had has it really was like, in speaking from my own personal experience as well, it stirred something in me that was very emotional and impactful. So I can only imagine what it was like for you to hear all these stories. So I know that for a lot of these guys, that's the first time that they've really felt heard, or that's the first time that they've really felt like they were needed or wanted, and that they were actually being celebrated for these things. So it was really, really kind and sacrificial of you to do that. Very, very cool. Dave says, sounds like you need to do an unpacking it all video, just discussing your experience. I think, I mean, and I can't speak for you, of course, but I think once all the veteran interviews are out there, the ones that at least want to be public, once those are out there and people kind of understand what they are and what that is, I think that might be once we can kind of start unpacking that a little bit more. But I know that there are some that didn't want to be public, some that we are going to publish. Yeah, because right now I don't think any of Jay's fans even like know about this, right?
Yeah, so he posted about it on his stories, which I think is how you actually, I think that's how we connected. So some fans do, but I'm not sure. Like we've been posting some updates mostly on my Instagram, so I'm not really sure where that stands. But he asked for veterans to sign up back in September, and that's how I got a huge wave of veterans who came in.
Yeah.
That's actually technically how this show started, because you and I then did the interview and then we started this.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how this started. That's the only reason why this started.
Yeah.
I was looking back at our old like thumbnails, and I remember seeing that there was our regular thumb or our first thumbnail ever, and it was like
Yeah.
Mondays with Max and McKenna or something, goofy, and then or it was like an interview or a pod, like something like that. And then
Yeah.
one recently right after that then was your birthday stream, which was super
Yes.
fun to do as well.
Yes.
And that still was not any type of episode. It wasn't Monday Misadventures with Max and McKenna. It wasn't that episodic thing. It was just another show.
Yeah.
So really, I think we've kind of in the past few months here or weeks really kind of hit a stride of fans of having a set stream time. So it's been
Mhm.
really cool to see where it started and then see where it's at now.
Yeah. When we
Especially
started, well, I remember you and I talking about, we'll do a couple of shows and just see if it sticks,
Yeah.
see if it's something we enjoy. And at that point, we had no idea we were going to make this a weekly thing, but it really kind of has become just this weekly hangout for all of us, and it's been really fun. The other thing too is trying to figure out, okay, what exactly we're going to talk about, because we have two very different worlds, comic books, pop culture, etc., and then hiking back. I mean, like, how do you combine these two things? So it's been fun to just kind of throw it all in and realize that we all just have a good time talking about it.
I think where we meet in the middle is just our character, like where our two worlds collide and where we find common ground is in our character, our principles, our morality, like just what we deem to be important to us in life is where we connect there. Because then on every other level, we can then see like comic books or climbing or hiking or nerd shit, like all that stuff. It's like once you have that commonality of something that's grounded and rooted in something even deeper than escapism, when it's based off of your principles, your character, then everything else kind of flows from that. And I think that's why the show works so well and why we have such great fans and chat and everything. So
I think that's why this whole community for all of us works so well is, and we've talked about this so many live streams, but we all come from so many different backgrounds, like the meetup in San Diego. I mean, talk about a room just full of people who come from all different backgrounds. And yet we just have this commonality, and it's really, really fun. And the fact that we're all passionate about different things, you mentioned this earlier. For me, going into the bar in San Diego and talking to everyone there, people are so passionate in this community about different things. And you just feed off of that. As you're talking to someone and they're passionate about this and that, it's really, really fun. It inspires you to go home and then, dive into different aspects of your own creativity or whatever you're building. So it's been really cool watching everyone dive in and feed off of that.
100%. No, I couldn't agree with you more. You get more energy. You feed off of other people's energy when they're passionate about something. I just realized I was doing the thing I do. Is that you said this thing? I just realized I was doing it a lot, and I was like, wow, I'm watching myself do the thing that I know I do.
That is one thing. Okay, guys, that is one thing during these live streams and for me, I don't often watch over my videos unless I have to. I hear a lot of people say that. It's really hard to watch yourself online. But when I have to, I'm like, wow, I have some very specific quirks that I do, like hand movements, which now I need to sit on my hands, but hand movements and stuff that I do online. So we joke about that, or we learn a lot about ourselves on these weekly live streams.
Almost to a fault. Because now you know that I wear silkies. Now you know that I have goofy mannerisms, all that fun stuff.
The rest of this live stream, we're just gonna sit on our hands and not move.
Yeah, right. Trouble Green says, I know zip about comics. I joined this community fellowship because I saw the crossover of the nonsense of what's going on in universities. Interesting. Okay. We all have similarities, even though we walk different paths. Absolutely. The Yeah, and that's what's cool is that yes, this channel is about, like, I talk 90% comic books and entertainment and pop culture and stuff like that. However, it's rooted in like my belief system is going to come through those videos because of just who I am as a conservative, Christ following, cisgendered white male. You know what I mean? Which is, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, even though I'm told that there is something wrong with that. But and I think that's why, even though there are some people who don't like my comic book content, they still come to the Mondays with Max and McKenna because they know that that's intrinsically what my belief system is, and they know intrinsically that's like where my character lies. And so they find that commonality there, as opposed to, hey, this is that comic book guy. It's like, oh, here's that guy that I can relate to and feel like I can talk to. And he just so happens to talk about comic books. I don't know. Even Wayne agrees. He says, I have little knowledge on comics. A lot of people have that, you know, there are a lot of people who don't know a lot about comics, and which is totally fine. Some knowledge about hiking. I just enjoy the conversations. Well, me too, man. Thank you for saying that. I enjoy the conversations as well. Code says, last time I paid attention to comics was Death of Superman series. Wow. I've got that comic right up here. You can't see it. But yeah, man, that was a while ago. That top best-selling comic of all time. John says, watching back on your own videos, the struggle is real. I've become so aware of how much I talk with my hands and wave my arms around wildly. You know, John, it's funny you say that because initially, if you look at my first video ever, I want to say, I sat like this the whole time, and I just like talked, and I just went, yeah, so there's a comic book like this, and I was killing myself. I can't believe I still have it up on my channel, but I like to watch it to go, oh, that's what I used to be like.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to find a middle ground between how do I not be one of those idiot YouTube vloggers, but how do I not be so boring and monotone that no one wants to listen to me? So then I slowly started to add mannerisms, and then I slowly started to add like hand gestures, and then I had to add more inflection to my voice. And it really is odd when you do that just by yourself, because you feel like an insane person.
Yep.
But
Hence my first.
yeah, which you know, sometimes you talk to yourself, and that's part of the process.
Yep.
But it is very funny to watch the change over time, is like, because the camera only picks up so much. So if I really wanted to relax, you know, and just kind of talk to you guys like this, you would never want to watch my stuff, because even though that's normally probably how I act normally, is very chill, very laid back, in camera it comes off as a zombie. So I have to just get a little bit more energy and kind of push it to that next level. Not so much so to where I'm a YouTube vlogger and I'm like, yeah, what's up, guys? And like too much energy, because that's a little overboard.
You're going to see us
So,
find views of your first couple videos now. We're all going to go back and snoop.
oh yeah. I'm going to start getting all these dislikes on my YouTube page and be like, what the hell's happening? And sure enough, it's going to be on my first videos. Actually, I don't know if you guys saw this. One of my very first videos, like ever, like maybe my third video ever, I talked about Tim Drake Robin when he had come out as bisexual or something in the comic books. And I thought I had said something very reasonable, to the extent of, listen, this is meant to cause news articles. This is meant to cause outrage and uproar. This is nothing more than a publicity stunt. Please don't think that this is anything other than that. I thought that was very reasonable. It is my most disliked. I think it has like 60% positive likes on there. It is so, it almost got ratioed to the extent to where there were more dislikes than likes. It is one of the worst downvoted videos I have on my channel. And I was like, I thought I was being super reasonable here, but I guess not. So it's very interesting. It was and so I really got discouraged, because I was like, oh shit, maybe I can't do this thing. Maybe I'm not. Maybe people don't think that I'm like have a good voice of reason. I don't know. It was very interesting.
Yeah, that's very
Kinda,
interesting.
yeah, gives you a
I
reality
wonder if
check
that
for
was.
sure.
I would assume that's people who are not subscribed. I would assume it was just people who saw the video.
Yeah.
Complete assumption. I have no idea.
I know I think I agree because that video has almost 2,000 views,
Yeah.
and when I look at the analytics, most of them are not subscribed. It was
Mhm.
probably, it's people who see it in passing,
Yeah.
and then they see it and they go, "Oh, fuck this guy," like I don't know who
Mhm.
this is, but just downvote. When YouTube
Yeah.
actually had dislikes.
Right. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, John says there's comfort in knowing very few people are watching when you get started and are still figuring it out. Yeah, man, that's what's great about having 10, 20 people on your channel, like subscribers, because you're like, maybe they're just friends or, close friends or family, or maybe some like fans that are just learning about you. And you're learning about yourself in that moment. And so you're kind of figuring out how you want to do your content, how your channel wants to be portrayed as. So it's really fun. I actually had a lot of fun figuring it. I'm still figuring that shit out. But it really is like fun to kind of go, what works, what doesn't? How do I want this to be portrayed? What point am I
Mhm.
trying to get across in this video? So it's really fun to like, I don't know, be creative in that sense. You really
My
have that creative freedom, but go ahead.
So it's a little bit different for me because I don't have my own channel. I have learned like me just speaking to the camera, it will definitely be a doozy to learn. But for me, my first video online was with Jay before the hiking
Mhm.
trip in Nevada. So we had a few thousand people on. And before he invited me on his channel, he asked me, like, have you done this kind of thing before? And I've done video chat. So I was like, yeah, absolutely. I can do that. And he's like, all you'll need is a camera and a mic. So I had a really crummy camera, my computer mic, and jumped on. And looking back at it now, I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? I had like, I'm sure some of you guys have seen it. I had like this chalk bag, this climbing chalk bag in the background. I love this chalk bag. It's like a gag reel kind of chalk bag. It's a Yeti, and it's like the ugliest thing I've ever seen, and I love it to death. So I had that in the background, and I had like anything that I could think of that was remotely related to what we were doing. I just kind of threw it in the corner, and I like ran my camera on FaceTime a couple of times to make sure it looked decent, and jumped on. Before that, I was not really on YouTube very much. I wasn't watching videos. I would watch hiking content, but it wasn't like I was watching videos like this where it's, people with a studio set up. So I honestly had no clue what I was doing. So for me, it was kind of like jumping in with a huge audience and looking back going, wow, thank you guys so much for your grace and your patience. I really appreciate all of you because it was kind of what I was doing.
Well, a troubled green agrees because she says that was such a funny live stream. Talk about jumping into the deep end like that.
Yep.
Yeah, she kind of got introduced, like you said, McKenna, like to thousands of people and fans like watching you on a live stream to now 20. So at least that, was,
This is
but
my
this,
track.
yeah, but look at look at your professional setup now. You got a mic and a nice camera and everything. So yeah,
There's still so much, though, as we know, lighting, camera, etc.
lights, camera, action. Hey, that's totally fine. Even I'm trying to work out my light situation. I was telling McKenna I just purchased some things for the studio that might help out with some sound quality stuff as well. So yeah, always just trying to get better, which is cool because then you guys get to watch that process as well into 2022. You get to see where my studio looked like before, or how McKenna's sound, how McKenna sounded before, or like whatever it is, like, and then we just continue to keep growing. So yeah, it's until we find like a good point where we feel professional enough or whatnot. Steve says, well, I remember that video and I liked it. Seemed fine to me. Well, thank you for the support. Yeah, that was a while ago, man. Thank you for being here for that long. That was like 4 months, 5 months ago. Jeez.
Yeah.
Roman says, one of my goals not to knock my mic off the cigar box. It's a good goal to have. I agree, man. A Trouble Green says that was such a funny stream. Oh, yep. Already read this one. My bad. Wayne says my path here is like 6 degrees of separation. Geeks and Gamers to Anna to Drunk 3PO to McKenna and MVP. I'm sure I missed a couple in there too. And hey, we're happy you're here, man. That is a great path to go down to find all these different channels and stuff. That's what this is all about. Let's see. Yeah, lighting is a bitch. Absolutely. Lighting can make or break a video. Let me just tell you that. Your first video, Jay, was fine. I may be blind, but I didn't see anything wrong with it. Hey, well, that's good news.
Keep thinking that. That's awesome.
And Harley says studio setups are fun. They are, to the extent, I think, like I said before, like creatively, I think it's really fun to play around with lighting and go, okay, what, like for me, like where do I want like shadow on this side of my face and have like kind of a more moody lighting? Do I want just like 2 bright ring lights just like right on me at all times? Do I want a studio light? Do I want blue light, neon light? How does the studio want to look with like the statues and stuff? Yeah, there's a whole process to it. But it's fun. It's fun once you get the hang of it and you see what has come from it. It's a lot of fun to see. Roman says, guys, gotta go. Misses of the Empire calls. Have a good night. Congrats, Max. McKenna, always great to see you. Lots of great conversations tonight. Roman, thank you for consistently being one of our biggest fans and supporters. So awesome meeting you a few weeks ago for the meetup. You, sir, are one of the true MVPs here. So yeah, have a great night, man, and enjoy time with your family. Flaccid Phoenix says, just found your channel because of NT. What is your favorite graphic novel from the last 15 years? Oh, that's a great question, Phoenix. Let me fix my camera here real quick. I will answer this and then we'll probably call it a night. But Phoenix, to answer that, that is honestly, I would probably say either the Wolverine. Now, if we're talking graphic novel, can I say omnibus? Because if we're talking omnibus, I'd probably say one of the Wolverine omnibus that I have behind me. Graphic novel, though, there was a fantastic Silver Surfer, the Infinity Gauntlet, like Silver Surfer graphic novel. It's one of the Epic collections, and I read that not too long ago, and that was fantastic. I really enjoyed that because it encompassed the Infinity Gauntlet saga into the rest of the Silver Surfer titles. So that was a really good one that I really enjoyed. So I'd probably say that. But great question, Phoenix. Thank you. With that being said, I think we are definitely past 2 hours, and I'm gonna try and keep these down to about 2 hours. I don't want to go too much longer than that. As we move into the new year in 2022, I think having 2 hours is going to be a good time for people to be able to watch all the way through, or at least watch a good portion of it without feeling too overwhelmed of like, oh man, this is 3 hours long. Or and for the algorithm to have these shorter live streams does better for both McKenna and I, because then we get more people to like new viewers who get to watch this and get to hop on board and stuff. So I think that might be the new time frame is 2 hours. So let's see. Dave says, see you, Max and McKenna. Thanks for the amazing conversation as always. Dude, thank you. You are always here and always welcome. And it is so great to have you supporting us, man. We support you with everything you do as well. And so it's always a pleasure to have you in the chat. Wayne says, want to get my good nights in before y'all split. You guys are great. Thanks for doing what you do. Thank you, man. Thank you for being here and supporting. You guys are really, really fantastic. And sorry, I was just reading the chat. yeah, you guys are a fantastic group of people that continue to support McKenna and I can't thank you enough for now 600 subscribers. So on our way to 1,000, we'll be there shortly. Don't worry. We'll have even more people in the chat. So it'll be a lot of fun. McKenna, do you have anything you want to announce or anything you want to say before we head out? I know you had a larger announcement. If you want to do that on another live stream, we can do that and wait. It's up to you.
Yeah. So probably next week, if we work it in,
Okay.
I will have an announcement for one of the things coming up for Rebellion Expeditions in 2022. I might make some small announcements about it on my Instagram, so you guys stay tuned this week. But yeah, definitely going to start opening up what we have packed for 2022 for Expeditions.
Yeah, I want to save what she has in store for her for 2022. I want to save that for another stream. I'm so sorry I didn't get to it tonight, McKenna. Chat was just on fire. You guys were just tossing great conversation ideas our way, and I was trying to keep up with everyone the whole time. So I do apologize. But McKenna I will make sure that she talks the entire rest of next stream, because I did way too much talking tonight.
If that happens, I'll be handing it over to you guys in the chat.
Yeah, exactly. Codenomics, he says, got to go find someone else who is streaming, jerks. Don't worry, you can always watch our old stuff, or we'll be here next Monday, brother, and we will see you then. John says, great conversation as always. Congrats on 600 plus. Hey, man, so thankful for you, and grateful that you are always here supporting us. Can't thank you enough. Yeah, we can only hope. We can only hope, Harley. That is my dream.
But I will say though, John is aware of this. I have made some progress on a guitar for Tennessee Whiskey.
Ooh.
John's been chipping away at getting me to pick up the guitar again. And so for one song, I picked it back up.
Hell yeah. Well, that's good. That's one inch closer to seeing that banjo live.
Yep. Not happening. I mean, unless someone wants to pay me a few thousand to pick up the banjo, sure.
Okay. All right. That's out of my price range. I'm sorry. Maybe we can start a Kickstarter or something.
Great.
Yeah. Once again, I will just say a huge thank you. You guys are probably sick of me saying that again, but 600, just the beginning, and it's all thanks to you guys. I couldn't be more grateful to have this hobby of sharing this stuff with people. That's what nerds do. They share about the stuff that they love, and they talk about the stuff that they hate, and we have conversations about it. And that's what's so great about this whole fellowship and everyone in chat. So I appreciate everyone who showed up tonight. It was a great crowd, and we will see you guys next Monday with some big news from McKenna. So